How's it going, everybody? Ed Ricker here, and this is the DJI Ronin-S, a camera stabilizer that's handheld like this. Check this thing out. It works amazing, and I'm so excited to be trying it out. It's one of the best camera stabilizers that I can think of that I've used before. Now, I personally come from the glide cam side of things. Manual stabilization that requires both some balancing time for setup as well as some practice for getting going. You don't just open up a glide cam and hit the ground running. There's a bit of a learning curve. With something like this, got a brain inside of it. It has its own stabilization with motors, with your favorite DSLR, mirrorless camera, or even some larger cameras like Reds. I've seen a Red being put on here before successfully. This is a whole new world of possibilities. The tested payload capacity is 3.6 kilograms. Now, as with every stabilization system, it seems like there's always something that could be a bit improved on, but spoiler alert, this is a great stabilization system for your camera, and I'd like to tell you why. Now, right off the bat, you can see I have my GH5, and I can spin this around as you can see. GH5 with a wide-angle lens. I find having a wide-angle lens kind of helps even more with the stabilization, although with something like this, you might even be able to put a 25mm or something on and still get great stabilization. So I'm controlling the movement of the camera with this thumbstick. If you're holding it like this, you're using this as a thumbstick. The camera is being controlled by one motor, two motor, three motors, and they all together, when balanced properly, there's a bit of a balance process with this one as well. This will be set up, balanced, and you turn it on and you're good to go. Now you keep going down, you see we have a focus wheel. So this is a focus controller. Right now, you look on the side of my GH5, I have this hooked up right to the side panel there. You can select tether on the USB-C menu, and now I'm going to record, and you can see that we are pulling focus on the side of the Ronin. So you can make sure that your subject is in focus with your left hand while you're holding the Ronin with your right hand. I love that feature, and if you have a shallow depth of field, like maybe your aperture is all the way open on a fast lens, having that focus adjustment handy may just save your shot. You can't adjust focus on a glide cam when you're walking around with that thing. It's going to be bobbing up and down. I've tried it. Trust me. Further down, we see the battery, and this is what you're holding on to. It's a nice grip you can see right here, but this is the battery, and this battery lasts like 12 hours. The battery charges with a USB-C port right there. And if you look on the back here, we have 1, 2, and 3. Those are different user profiles. They allow for different follow speeds in relation to how you control with the thumbstick and, more importantly, your body movement. And you can actually customize those in the Ronin app that I'll show you in a few minutes. You also have something called sport mode. You hold the M button down, and now as you move, the camera will snap to where your hand is actually going while still maintaining stabilization. So that is not how normal mode works. Normal mode is like this, nice and smooth, maybe someone walking by, and then sport mode for someone running by or a car or something like that. The last button, and one of my favorites, is the trigger right here. You press the trigger and now it's locked on to a certain trajectory right over there. Now that is awesome. So you can be walking around, you could be turning, I could be doing this, go into another room, da-da-da-da. Okay, I'm in a very dark room now, but it doesn't matter because we're coming back. Here we go, coming back to the table, spinning around once and putting it down. Now when I walk with this, I usually collapse the feet to create a longer handle. And now I'm gonna press that button again, boom, and it allows for us to get some low-level shots. So, in effect, you could be getting some low-level, maybe foot shots of someone walking, or A little squirrel? Who knows? Now there are two more functions with the trigger button. You press it twice, and it goes back to home center default location. Now, press it 3 times. Selfie mode. Now this is also a smart camera stabilizer, and I'll show you how to connect to it with your phone. I'm using Android, Google Pixel 3. Shout out to Team Pixel. And now go to our Ronin app. And it looks like we're successfully connected with the app as well. It can show us our battery level. It looks like it's a 4-cell battery. That's interesting. So I haven't calibrated this recently, so what I'm going to do is go to Settings, and I'm going to go to System Calibration. And it's going to go through a quick little calibration. I am going to make a video on how to set this up, a separate video, so keep an eye out for that. But you can also go to a Create option, and here you can do panoramas, you can do time-lapse, motion lapse, and tracking as well. So a few other things I really like about the Ronin-S. There is a record button on the back of the controller area of the stabilizer. I also like that the rear motor here that controls roll is lower than the camera. So if I didn't have a flip out display like the GH5 does, I could see still the display on the camera. There are certain other types of stabilizers, I think the Crane 2, where the motor is so much higher that if you're holding the stabilizer like this, you couldn't actually see what your screen sees if you didn't have a flip out screen. I love the 12-hour battery life. That's a great thing for me. I can do multiple shoots or an all-day shoot with this without having to worry about charging it again. Sport mode, as we were mentioning earlier, is just so snappy and awesome. And I did a shoot the other day, and I kind of wish I knew about sport mode. I didn't at the time. I'm still learning about the thing. So there are a few things that I don't like about the Ronin-S. It's good, you know, all around. I love it, but there are a few things I think I should tell you about. First of all, it doesn't have up and down stabilization. I'm not talking about pitch up and down. I'm talking about up and down through space. The GH5 has a pretty good internal sensor that can help out with that a little bit, but if you're walking around and you're not being completely, you know, like heel to toe, very, very cautious when you're walking, you're still going to see a bit of an up and down movement. They call this the Z-axis, and none of this type of camera stabilization has a Z-axis stabilization. You'd have to get something a little bit different for that. Second of all, running. I think I had it balanced pretty well for this shot, but I was also running like as fast as I could to keep up with the football players. And as I was running, I was still getting a bit of a jerkiness with every footstep. Now, of course, I was running as fast as I could. That may have something to do with it, but you know, it's just not going to be completely 100% fail-safe smooth. I asked DJI about that jerkiness when running, and they said that maybe my stiffness was tuned too high. You can actually turn it down and maybe produce better results. DJI gave us a few different mounting options for our camera to make it easy for us to go back and forth between this and maybe a tripod. However, this tripod mount, which is designed to work with tripods similar to Manfrotto design, doesn't work with Manfrotto tripods. Because of the shape of what's going on the bottom there, I can jam this in about that far and it will not go any further. And that might be very unbalanced for your camera, depending on where the screw is. And none of the tripod plates that I already owned fit the Ronin. What? So that was a bit disappointing. I did some research and I found a guy online, I'll credit his YouTube down here, and he basically went through the research process and found a tripod plate that works with both the Ronin and with Manfrotto tripods. And I love him for it because I have 3 Manfrotto tripods, and it would have really sucked if I couldn't go back and forth between here and there without replacing tripod plates. Second of all, they give us a case. Now, those of us who fly like a DJI Phantom, you'll already kind of recognize the type of case this is with the locking mechanism there. So this is basically a case that'll get it shipped to you and may also get you going for the first week or two, but it's not something you're going to be using for much more time than that. One of the reasons being, this fits your Ronin-S perfectly the way it was shipped. it doesn't fit it the way that you've balanced it. There's a balance process I keep talking about. Yes, you have to balance this. It's not gonna work with your camera great right out of the box. And so you've made fine adjustments, and this fits so tight. It fits the Ronin-S with like no room for wiggling and room for error, that if you've made adjustments to the Ronin-S, you can no longer use this unless you want to ruin all your adjustments and have to do that again next time you pull it out of the box. So I would much rather use just a simple piece of Velcro. And basically, you take off the camera, you have all this moving, it's all flopping around. You can use your Velcro that they've given you to kind of lock it down. Now you can move around, throw this in a bag, you know, it's not gonna be swinging around and bumping things. So, the Ronin-S by DJI. I already like DJI because of their drones. I was really excited to see that they have stabilization options for cameras like this. Thank you so much for watching. Link in the video description, and let me know if you have any other questions. Again, look out for that video coming up soon about how I stabilize this camera. That's part of this video process, is making a tutorial on how to get this balanced properly. Happy shooting, everybody, and I'll see you next time.